Breaking now. Explosive new evidence could clear Menglong's name. Could this shocking discovery finally rewrite the story we thought we knew? Let's uncover the truth together with Red Carpet Revealed, right now. Silence was beginning to feel permanent. Months had passed since Menglong's tragic death, and while grief still clung to his fans like a second skin, the possibility of answers seemed to fade further away with every passing week. The case had stalled. Rumors burned themselves out. Headlines grew cold. But just when the world began to accept the idea that this mystery would never be solved, the storm roared back to life. Explosive new evidence has emerged. Evidence so powerful, so shocking, that it could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Menglong's final days. For the first time, whispers of exoneration have surfaced. And with them comes the possibility that the man millions love may finally be freed from the shadows that have haunted his name. It began, as so many modern revelations do, in the grand chambers of a courtroom or the polished halls of a press conference, but online. A handful of anonymous posts appeared on underground forums late at night, claiming access to documents that prove the truth. Screenshots soon followed, grainy, blurred, but tantalizing enough to spark interest. Within hours, the posts had spread like wildfire, creating speculation across social media. By dawn, major outlets were chasing the story, trying to confirm what had already captured the world's attention. Menglong's case was not over. Something had been hidden, and now, at last, it was coming to light. For fans, the shock was overwhelming. Remember too well the night of his passing. The endless stream of unanswered questions. The half-hearted statements from his agency. The vague and unsatisfying words of investigators. His death had always felt incomplete. Story left unfinished. Now the promise of explosive new evidence reopened every wound and reignited every suspicion. Could it really be true? Could this man's life ended in such unbearable tragedy finally be vindicated? To understand the impact of these revelations, one must return to the image of Menglong that lived in the hearts of his fans. He was not just a celebrity. He was a dream embodied. A young man who rose from modest beginnings to dominate television dramas and music charts. His smile lit up screens. His voice melted hearts. And his charisma seemed untouchable. Yet beneath the surface, cracks were always there. Close friends recalled moments of silence. Times when his eyes dimmed after the cameras turned off. Whispers of him crying to his mother about pressures too heavy to carry. He once said in a late-night conversation, "I feel like I'm living someone else's life, not mine." The night of his death shattered millions. The official story was clinical. Delivered without heart. Menglong has passed away. The case is under investigation, that was all. No explanation, no clarity. Just a void filled by speculation. Fans wept in the streets, gathering with candles and singing his songs through their tears. His parents, consumed by grief, remained hidden. And the industry moved forward with a cruel swiftness that only deepened the pain. For many, the unanswered questions became unbearable. Then came the leaks. At first, they were fragments, unverified forensic reports hinting at inconsistencies in the timeline. Whispers of substances never mentioned in official accounts. Cryptic audio clips said to be his last words. Each leak deepened the suspicion that Menglong's death was not as it seemed. But nothing compared to the recent revelations. This time, the evidence was not just speculation, it was explosive. According to investigative journalists who claim to have verified the files, the new material includes detailed forensic re-examinations that contradict the original reports. Timestamps reveal that certain calls were logged long after the official time of death. Deleted text messages, recovered by experts, suggest that Menglong feared someone close to him. One chilling message read, "If anything happens to me, remember they told me it would." Who they were remains a mystery. But the implication was undeniable, Menglong had been under threat. Even more shocking was the emergence of a longer, previously unseen video clip. Fans will remember the blurry leaked footage that appeared months ago, which seemed to show Menglong in his final moments, pale and trembling, whispering words too faint to hear. The new video, reportedly recovered from the same device, shows more. In it, his voice is audible, but clear. "I didn't do what they said. I can't carry this blame." The room is dim. Shadows move faintly in the background. And then the clip cuts to black. Analysts argue this was not a video of a man preparing to end his own life, but of a man desperately trying to defend himself in the face of something darker. The reaction was instantaneous. Across social media, hashtags like Clear Menglong's name and Justice Delayed Justice Denied began trending globally. Fans who had mourned quietly now roared with renewed fury, demanding that his name be cleared and those responsible held accountable. Vigils that once felt like final farewells transformed into protests, with thousands chanting his name and holding banners that read, "Cannot be buried." His music once again filled the air, but now the lyrics were interpreted not as romantic ballads, but as coded cries for help. His family, long silent in their grief, finally stepped forward. At a small press gathering, mother wept as she spoke. "He told me he was suffering, but I never knew how deep the pain went. The world sees that he was carrying something he should never have carried. He was not guilty. He was not weak. He was my son. He deserves the truth." His father, standing beside her, added quietly, "We begged for answers, and no one listened. Maybe now they will." Their words added fuel to the fire. A narrative from speculation to undeniable urgency. The industry, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. His former agency released a statement condemning the leaks as inaccurate and misleading. You believed them. Their silence in the immediate aftermath of his death had already eroded public trust. Now, with the new evidence contradicting official accounts, the agency's words only deepened suspicions. Analysts pointed out that too much detail in the leaks aligned with verified facts for them to be dismissed outright. If this is a fabrication, one legal expert said, it is the most precise fabrication in history. Meanwhile, investigators confirmed that they were reopening the case in light of the new evidence. Officials admitted, reluctantly, that certain details may have been overlooked, suppressed, or misinterpreted in the initial inquiry. We're reviewing all relevant material. One spokesperson said, "Our goal is to ensure that justice is fully served." Their cautious words did little to calm a public already seething with outrage. For fans, this was not about cautious steps. It was about vindication, about rewriting history, about ensuring Menglong was remembered for his art and humanity, not for a tragedy shrouded in suspicion. As the story spiraled, media outlets around the world devoted hours of coverage to the case. Television anchors debated the implications of the evidence, with some warning of mass hysteria if the files turned out to be less conclusive than believed. Others argued that the sheer volume of inconsistencies demanded action. Newspapers ran headlines like, "The case that refuses to die in Menglong, from idol to icon of truth." But perhaps the most powerful reaction came from the fans themselves. They flooded streets, lit candles, carried posters, and demanded change. "He deserves his name back." One fan sobbed at a rally. "They took his life, but we won't let them take his dignity." Spoke of how his death had scarred them personally. The story was a reflection of every young person crushed under the weight of impossible expectations. For them, Menglong was no longer just an idol. He was a symbol, a reminder that the truth may be delayed, but it cannot be denied forever. Ends here, at the edge of revelation. The evidence has surfaced. The world is reacting, and the possibility of exoneration hangs in the air. But the question remains, is this enough? Will the courts, the industry, and the powers that once remained silent now bow to the truth? Or will the shadows fight back, burying this explosive discovery as they tried to bury the man himself? One thing is certain, Menglong's story is far from finished. The announcement came like a lightning strike. Investigators officially confirmed that they were reopening Menglong's case in light of the newly surfaced evidence. The words "case reopened" sent shockwaves across the nation, electrifying fans who had long believed that the truth had been buried with their idol. For months, the world had whispered about injustice. Those whispers became a roar. Could this really be the beginning of redemption? Could Menglong's name finally be cleared? Inside the courthouse, the atmosphere was electric. Reporters packed every corner, cameras flashing like relentless lightning, capturing every flicker of expression on the faces of officials. Outside, crowds surged, chanting his name, their voices rising together in a wave of anger and hope. They carried candles and placards that read, "Truth for Menglong and exonerate him now." For the first time, the system that had seemed so immovable was forced to reckon with the power of public demand. Investigators began by revealing fragments of what they had uncovered. Forensic reanalysis confirmed that the original reports had contained inconsistencies and omissions. Deleted text messages retrieved from his phone painted a chilling picture, messages suggesting coercion, threats, and unbearable pressure. One read, "You take the blame, or everything ends." Another simply stated, "Remember, silence is survival." For fans, these words were confirmation of what they had long suspected: Yu Menglong had not been weak. He had been silenced. The explosive revelation came when a new recording was played in a closed session before select members of the press. In the audio, Yu Menglong's voice trembled as he said, "Betray anyone. They're forcing this on me. Please. If someone hears this, tell them I tried." The leak of that recording spread within hours, crashing social media platforms as fans replayed the heartbreaking plea. Hashtags like "Clear Yu Menglong's Name" and "Hatred" trended globally, uniting millions across languages and borders. Families stepped into the spotlight once again. Their grief raw but their voices stronger than ever. His mother, clutching his photograph, declared through tears, "My son was innocent. Carried burdens that were never his to carry. It is time for the world to admit the truth." His father added in a low, steady voice, "He was blamed for things he never did. If this new evidence clears his name, perhaps his spirit can finally rest." Their words pierced through the noise, fueling the demand for justice. The industry, however, was less eager. Former associates scrambled to distance themselves. He's released vague statements, and some tried to dismiss the evidence as taken out of context. But the tide had turned. Too much of the new material aligned with old suspicions, and the public no longer trusted polished denials. Celebrities began speaking out, with several high-profile stars admitting they too had faced coercion. None as devastating as Yu Menglong. He carried what many of us feared. One actor admitted in a tearful interview. But he carried it alone, and it destroyed him. The courtroom became the stage for a drama that captivated millions. Prosecutors presented the newly uncovered files, referencing them with forensic data and eyewitness testimonies. Defense lawyers tried to discredit the leaks. Arguments fell flat against a mounting pile of evidence. Day after day, the trial unfolded like a tragic play. Revelation: another dagger in the image of a system that had long thrived on silence. Witnesses took the stand. An assistant confessed to overhearing heated exchanges in which Yu Menglong was told he would take the fall or lose everything. A technician testified that surveillance footage had been mysteriously deleted from the night of his death. Each testimony tightened the noose around those who had once seemed untouchable. Narrative shifted from tragedy to conspiracy, from silence to systemic corruption. Fans outside followed every word, chants growing louder with each revelation. Candlelight vigils turned into marches, their energy unrelenting. Global outlets covered the trial like breaking news, headlines screaming, "Evidence could clear Yu Menglong and Star's legacy transformed by explosive revelations." For the first time, the possibility of redemption felt real. Then came the pivotal moment. The judge acknowledged the validity of the new evidence and declared that Yu Menglong had been wrongfully implicated, though the case against other figures was ongoing. Truth was now official. Yu Menglong's name was cleared. The announcement was met with thunderous applause in the courtroom and sobs of relief from his family. Outside, fans erupted into cheers, strangers, lighting candles, and singing his songs in unison. Across the world, face appeared on screens, not as a victim of disgrace, as a symbol of truth finally reclaimed. The fallout was immediate. Agencies came under investigation. Politicians promised reforms. Activists demanded new protections for entertainers. And fans, once consumed by grief, now carried the torch of his legacy as a movement for transparency and justice. His dramas were rewatched not just for entertainment but as fragments of a soul misunderstood. Songs were played like hymns, each lyric carrying new weight. Menglong was no longer just an idol. He was an icon of truth. His story a reminder that silence can be broken, even after death. The final image of his parents, standing together at a vigil with thousands of fans, will remain unforgettable. His mother whispered, "He was innocent. And now the world knows." His father, eyes glistening, added, "This is not the end. Truth will protect others." And so, the story of Yu Menglong does not end with tragedy. It ends with vindication, with a promise of change. the echo of his voice rising from silence to speak louder than ever before. The explosive evidence did more than clear his name, it turned him into a symbol that will endure long after the headlines fade. Because sometimes, justice arrives late. But when it does, it burns brighter than any lie. Leaves behind a truth that can never again be buried. The story of Menglong has taken the world from heartbreak to revelation. From silence to thunder. His death once felt like an unsolvable mystery. But today the explosive evidence has done what grief alone could not, it has given him back his voice. The truth, long buried, now shines so brightly that even the shadows cannot hide. Menglong was more than an actor. And a singer, more than a star. He was a son, a friend. Symbol of hope, and now, a symbol of justice. His name has been cleared. His innocence restored. And his legacy transformed. No longer remembered as a victim of tragedy. He will forever be remembered as the man whose truth refused to stay silent. Thank you for walking with us through this emotional journey. For listening, questioning, and refusing to forget. This has been Red Carpet Revealed. Uncovering the stories others fear to tell. The next chapter, stay vigilant. Stay compassionate. And remember, justice may come late. But the truth always finds its way to the light. See you in the next story.